So, will there be a Series 7 of Line of Duty? I've delved into all the evidence, and here's what I think. So first of all, do the crew want to make another series? Well, Adrian Dunbar was quoted as saying, we've got to do another series. We've got to get onto Jed and say, look, we've got to do one that's not like when we're in lockdown. We've got to do one when we're back on the ground, we're out there, we're in the city, we're having fun. So I think Adrian Dunbar is very pro another series, so that's a good start. He also says, I'm sure everybody wants one, we certainly want one. So we being the crew and the cast. Martin Compston also said, I think with Jed there's always potential for it to go on. He could always start a new case, there's always anti-corruption out there, as he would say. So Martin and Adrian have implied that they want another series, and I'm sure Vicky McClure probably feels the same way. And McClure himself said on the Out to Lunch podcast with Jay Rayner that he really wants to carry on Line of Duty as he still thinks he's got some ground to cover. So McClure, the writer of the show, and the cast all seem to be in agreement that they want to do another series. However, I think the only thing that might put them off is the reaction that was had to Series 6. Now, it might just be a kind of vocal minority, but Twitter that night was just blowing up with disappointing trending and all this kind of negative reaction. And it seemed to take a bit of a toll on Jed himself. He was replying to a lot of tweets and stuff for a few days afterwards, and that's totally fair. Like, I think I said in the video I made at the time, people should not be directing their anger at the crew and the cast. Like, it's just not fair. You know, they didn't ask for that. And Martin Compston actually kind of addressed this a little bit. So the week that the reaction was going on to the ending, he said, with everything that's just gone on this week, I think everybody, including the audience, needs a bit of time away from it. So we'll see. So that kind of hints that maybe the cast want to take a little bit of a break from the show. Because, let's face it, even though the viewing figures were massive, and like a lot of people enjoyed Series 6, being in the middle of that for the crew and the cast must have been a complete whirlwind, because it suddenly became like one of the most watched things on TV. Everyone was talking about it online, and even disregarding the kind of negative side, just to be at the front of all of that must take, you know, a lot of toll on someone, you know. So I can understand if they want to have a little bit of time away from the show. So does the BBC want another series of Line of Duty? Well, immediately afterwards, Charlotte Moore, the Chief Content Officer at the BBC, she said, I'm looking forward to having a conversation with the team about where we go next and what the future of the series might be. So that sounds very positive, and I wouldn't be surprised if the BBC are discussing this with Jed and the team. Also, as we know, Line of Duty had record ratings, and they weren't just big ratings, they were huge. They had about 12 million viewers watching on the night, which in this kind of age of like streaming, that's a massive number for an overnight figure. I can't imagine the BBC not wanting to do another series. The only thing that might put them off is that kind of small negative reaction that was had online. But if anything, I think that should be a motivation to commission more, you know. If some members of the audience didn't appreciate the final episode, then commission another series that's amazing and change their minds, you know. I think that's the best reaction you could have to that. So if the cast and crew want to continue, I don't see why the BBC wouldn't want to continue, but when could we see another series? Well, it might depend on the cast availability. So if you're a fan of Line of Duty, you might have noticed that some of the cast members have suddenly been announcing new projects in the last few weeks. Adrian Dunbar is going to be filming a drama called Ridley. Vicky McClure is currently shooting a production with Jed's production company called Trigger Point, which looks very like Line of Duty. I'm quite excited for that one. And Martin Compston is apparently currently filming a show called The Rig. So obviously these projects do rule out the cast being available for filming in the next few months. Particularly Adrian Dunbar's, because his one hasn't started filming yet. That's going to be filming in the autumn. So I think this rules out any filming for another series Line of Duty happening this year. But the benefit they have with this cast is that they mostly do TV work. You know, none of them have been signed onto a big, massive Marvel project like, you know, Benedict Cumberbatch or Richard Madden, where suddenly you can't film them anymore because they're too busy filming something else, which could increase the chances of seeing another series soon. You know, because Bodyguard, which was also written by Jed McClure, that starred Richard Madden, and since doing the show, he's been signed on to Marvel, and he's probably going to be like pumping out Marvel films in the next few years. So we probably won't see another Bodyguard for a while. But with this cast, I think there's a good chance we don't have to wait too long, because I think Line of Duty should be able to slot between other projects that they do. So the only thing that could hold up Line of Duty Series 7 is the commissioning. So currently, it's not commissioned, which seems weird to me. I would have thought if I was the BBC and I wanted another series Line of Duty, I would have commissioned it like a couple of weeks after Series 6 ended. You know, the hype from the finales just kind of die down a little bit, and then suddenly you get everyone excited again. You say, don't worry, another series is coming soon. It's weird to me that they haven't done that, and I don't know why they haven't. And possibly it is because Jed Mercurio or some members of the cast or something that maybe they just don't want to do another series, and that's why it hasn't happened. Or maybe the BBC don't want to do another series. You know, it's hard to know. However, if we do get a Series 7 commissioned, we might have to wait a little bit longer after that to actually see it come to fruition. So for example, Series 5 was commissioned in May 2017. It started filming in August 2018 and it aired in March 2019. So there was a 16-month gap between commission and filming, and a 23-month gap between commission and airing. So if Line of Duty Series 7 gets commissioned in September, for example, we might see 23 months after that, you know, almost 2 years, to actually see the series come to air. And the reason the gap was so long for Series 5 was because Jed wanted a bit of time to write the scripts, make sure they're polished, and then also just filming takes a long time to schedule. And after you've filmed, you then need time to do post-production, and then the BBC might want to put it in a certain slot, so then it gets delayed a little bit. You know, it was actually quite lucky with Series 6 that it was sort of fast-tracked because of the coronavirus. And actually, if you look at the show's history, there's been roughly 2 years between every series. So I think the very earliest we could look at getting a Line of Duty Series 7 would be kind of spring 2023. However, if you look at those commissioning gaps for Series 5, I would say we're probably more likely to be looking at late 2023, early 2024. And I think part of the reason they'll keep to that long gap between commission and filming is because Jed will really want to make sure those scripts are good. You know, after the intense kind of reaction he had to Series 6, he's going to want to make sure these are the best Line of Duty scripts you've ever seen, and he's not going to want to rush that. So I think we will see a big gap between commissioning and filming. That's if it gets commissioned in the first place, which could have ramifications for the cast and who we see on screen. I think this creates danger for Adrian Dunbar. You know, we saw Ted basically retire at the end of Series 6, but it was kind of left open whether or not he could like win his appeal and come back. I think if the series is filming that late, we will definitely see Ted in retirement. You know, there's kind of a limit to how long he can realistically be in position as the head of AC12, and I think that might be slightly pushing it. So I think we will see Anna Maxwell Martin effectively replacing Adrian Dunbar in the series. However, I think they will still find some kind of a clever way to bring Ted in. You know, he'll still be doing work from retirement or something, or maybe like the plot of the series will somehow relate to him and his personal life. And from the BBC's point of view, I think they'd really like the idea of Anna Maxwell Martin joining the cast in a full-term position, because she's also starring in Motherland, which is also a successful show on the BBC. So it's kind of like a nice kind of cross-pollination thing for them. So if Series 7 gets commissioned, what could it be about? Well, Jed has given a couple of little hints about this. He was speaking to Den of Geek, and he said there's clearly potential in investigating Osborn, so kind of delving more into how Osborn connected to everything. So he said, I think that if there is more Line of Duty, then clearly there's potential there. He's someone who retains high office, who is an outright liar, and has been involved in corruption in the past. But he did say, but it's too early to say whether we ever would. It could be either of those, or it could be something different. Initially, after Series 6 ended, I did think another series investigating Osborn would be a good idea. However, I've kind of changed my mind a little bit on this now. I think the likelihood is if Series 7 is commissioned, it will probably be commissioned alongside another series, because when Series 5 was commissioned, they commissioned Series 5 and 6 as kind of like a joint deal. In which case, I think it's a good opportunity to start a new arc. You know, leave the OCG behind and start something new. Investigate a different form of corruption, maybe. I think that's how you keep the show fresh. I don't think you can keep sort of mining that OCG storyline anymore. I think delving into something new would be a really good idea for the show. It was kind of getting to the point for me where the OCG just kind of felt a bit small fry. I'd almost like them to investigate a bigger kind of criminal network or something. Or, yeah, just a different form of corruption. So I don't see why they wouldn't do another series. I think the cast seem keen to do other projects, but I think they can do them alongside Line of Duty. I don't see any evidence for the cast don't want to carry on with the show, and I think that's a major factor that could help see the show come back. You know, they've kind of got like a little gang, but they just seem to enjoy working with each other. And, you know, why not carry on? Everyone wants you to, so just do it. Give us another series. But if there is a series commissioned, I think we're looking at least a 2-year wait until we see it. Last time I filmed this, it wasn't very hot, and sitting here in this waistcoat, I'm absolutely boiling. I don't know how they film the show when they're wearing stuff like this. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and subscribe for more videos to come. Bye.